Doo-doo-doo. Whoa, what was that? What? What did that say? Is this working? You're gonna let me stream, or you're gonna try and say I can't stream now? Hold on. Studio. Go live. Alright, it says I'm live. Alright, I thought that was like a warning message. They was mad at me when I had accidentally started showing footage of unfiltered footage of episode 3 of One Piece. Alright, hey guys. What is that back out? Oh god, it's been too long. One Piece, the live action has kept me satiated, but I really was extremely excited for this chapter to come out, and it did not disappoint. Although at the same time, I gotta say, I'm polite, like, God damn it, Oda. Oda knows how to like shuffle the storylines around where we're waiting for one thing to happen, but other things happen too. But actually, that was good because we go back to some of the stuff. I'll slow down. So we're gonna be reviewing here One Piece chapter 1092, and the chapter's name is "The Rampage Incident of the Tyrant Kuma in the Holy Land." And this one has a cover bit that shows Jinbei with some fish like hugging him or something. This is one of these cover page requests that Oda's been doing too. He had one with Doflamingo and Nami and some others. And to recap the last chapter too, we had Kizaru finally at the end of 1090. Actually, he found a way to enter. He entered onto the island because he was able to zip by the pacifistas, the Mark IIIs. As powerful as things are, I don't know if they could track someone like Kizaru. Apparently not, or maybe because their focus is on because Sentomaru ordered them to fight the marine ships. They didn't see him, so he got into the island and he's went right for Sentomaru, and they began battling it out because Sentomaru's authority is also one that Vegapunk put on in the hierarchy to exceed anyone else who has an authority chip, some kind of control device. And so Kizaru's got to take him out in order to get the things control of pacifistas, because they're making short work of the marine ships out there, and the sea beasts were doing quite well as also. So that fight went on for a little bit in the first half of the last chapter. We had some flashbacks to the two. These two knew each other quite well, and Kizaru was even remarking, "Hey, I don't want to hurt you, and we should be on my side." But Sentomaru's of loyalty to Vegapunk is second to none. So he, as Luffy promised him, and he trusts. I guess Sentomaru, you could say, has a good sense of judge a character, because Luffy promised to look out for Vegapunk, so Sentomaru is now siding with him and fighting Kizaru. And unfortunately, though, Kizaru made somewhat short work of him, and then he got control of the pacifistas that way and started ordered them to attack the sea beasts instead. And the pacifistas are much stronger than the sea beasts, so we see some of that here too. And then so to finish the recap, Kizaru got to the top. He was able to phase through the defenses. He got through the lava phase defenses that are almost impenetrable to anyone else, even like the Lucci or Kaku can't get through it. And Kaku, we saw that with Kaku. And he made it to, he saw where Lilith and the other group there were escaping to the one side of the island, waiting for Vegapunk to remove the shield. And the chapter ended with Luffy, stalling, going to fight Kizaru to stall. He didn't have his own volition too, of his own. Is that the right word? Anyways, so we ended off with that. Now we've waited for what's that been? 2 weeks now. Yeah, that was 2 weeks. And we had all kinds of theories about what Kizaru and Luffy's fight would be like, and we get some of that today. But we start off actually back in the Holy Land, and actually with all this stuff going on, I had forgotten all about Kuma. So I looked back. I think the last time we even saw Kuma, I believe, was in chapter 1072. That's when I saw where he's climbing up Marijois, and then that was where I think Bonnie and Vegapunk were last talking about him. Let me see if I got that. About Vegapunk was trying to explain to Bonnie about his that he had a friend with Kuma. What happened was Kuma's choice, and Bonnie wouldn't have it. And I think that was the point there too, where Bonnie finally had noticed the room with his bubble that had the memories, and they were simultaneously showing it there. Here, let me check. While they show Kuma flying up, going up there. Yeah, that's where she tricked him, right there. And yep, that's when he's climbing up the island. I mean, the red wall. While Marines are trying to bring him down. That's right. That was one of the flashback as well, where Kuma was with Vegapunk years ago, and was speculating about how his powers work. So, anyways, this chapter starts with Kuma at the top, inside, right near Pangea Castle. Is that the name of it again? I think so. And you're actually squaring off against Akainu. So Akainu here has shown up. I was a little surprised because this is not long after. I think they say it's a week. What did he say? Didn't he say? That just is the other day. Okay, so I was just surprised that Akainu's here rather than that leader of the Holy Knights was just there, and he executed our allied Celestial Dragon. Hopefully he's still alive. Hopefully that was more of a punishment. But I don't know. I'm a little scared for that guy's fate. Akainu here instead, holding off Kuma. It looks like they've been battling for a bit here. As we start off seeing him, Kuma using one of his shock wave type bubble attack, Ursa shock it reads here, and he it shows this big decently crater, not very deep, a very wide crater right in front of Pangea Castle, and the rest of the city to the other side. And then so he's fighting this thing. Kuma still looks like he's like a machine here, and he's still fighting with his Devil Fruit powers very well. He still remembers how to use that, even if he's like a machine now. So Akainu starts is like, what are you doing here? And then he comments like, oh great, the other day the Revolutionary Army was here causing problems, and now you're here. This is becoming quite a problem, destroying all the place up here like this. And I'm just laughing at it because this place has been so tranquil and whatnot for the Celestial Dragons for centuries. They're probably stressing out over this in some ways, but we actually see some of them too watching, and most of them are quite pissed at this point that we can't feel. I'm not gonna feel sorry for these guys, at least of any character, because so they're complaining here because um first of all, I think what they show here is the this knight. It looks like their regular guard had tried to hold off Kuma and couldn't do it, couldn't handle it. They show one here in a shot, all beat up, and uh uh. So I'm just reading this translation is a little weird. For the gist of what I'm seeing here, first of all, we see some of them complaining because their food supply is getting lower, and they are like, "What's going on here? I can't even order lobster anymore." And and then I think they're getting upset that he. It looks like this fight with Akainu and Kuma had been going on for a little bit, and they're like, "What are you doing? Hurry up and finish him off now!" Damn. And I mean, Kainu here tries to talk to the Kuma. And actually, I should reiterate, Trish, Kainu here has this look on his face, which kind of makes me think he's like, God damn these celestial dragons yelling at me when I'm trying to do my job. Go away, I'm trying to work here. I'm trying to work here. I think Akainu's finally getting a little stressed out. Not stressed out, fed up fully with this job of working for the celestial dragons. He wants to take out pirates as much as anybody, more than anybody, but now he's got to deal with them, and I think he's really have enough of it. So then Kainu's like, Kuma, what are you doing? Why aren't you listening to us anymore? And he goes on like, I'm gonna stop you here. And actually, so as he does that, he starts his right hand starts turning into magma right there and dripping in front of him. And then he's like, continues the conversation with Kuma, like, if you're supposed to be a machine now, how are you still operating? Where are you heading to? So he's trying to like figure out what Kuma's doing here, and but Kuma looks like it's just wait. Kuma here looks like he's breathing heavy too. Yeah, so the Kuma is just trying to figure out a way, I think, to get past the Kainu. He looks like he's still intent on his goal. Whatever it is here, it's obviously not really the castle though, because the spot they're fighting, as they change its angle, the castle's cut off to Kuma's right. The Kainu's left there. We're kind of like behind Kuma. But if I'm Kuma, it's like that way. And so then since Kuma isn't answering, Kainu just goes in for an attack, and he gets a face palm attack, and he goes right for Kuma's head, and he gets a good shot in right off his right side. It's actually his left hand, his right side there, and yeah, he does quite a bit of damage to him there. And then Kainu's like, he looks like he's even bleeding, I guess, because Kainu says, "Oh, it looks like you're not all machine now. You're bleeding now." And then Kuma takes this opportunity though, just to avoid him, and just starts running again past him. And wait, what's that attack there? Oh, and then he does that. Oh, so he starts. Kuma gets one. Kainu goes, turns around and goes after him, and gets one more attack in there. It looks like he gets Kuma's foot, but then he at that moment uses his devil fruit to like boink, like doing like it looks like he propels himself. I'm guessing like he's doing like a super jump thing, and he just propels himself away, and the kind was just standing there contemplating something. So no, I should say. So kind of at this point, he's thinking back to when he caught Bonnie 2 years ago, or she was left there by the Blackbeard pirates, And actually, for a while there, I was a little worried. I don't think I brought this up before, but last week I just thought about Bonnie here because I was rewatching. I was rewatching this part where she was captured, like the last time we saw her out in the New World, before the time skip, and I was thinking for a while that maybe she was, and because everyone's talking about her being actually Catalina Rena Devon, I was thinking, oh, what if she's not, not because I dismissed that. I'm dismissive of that idea uh, happening before because Bonnie's up here with them in the labo phase where it's protected, and I don't think anyone other than Kizaru could get up there. So I was thinking, what if Bonnie is really not a spy for Akainu? If he like worked out a deal with her, like I'll free you here if you work for me to help catch the Straw Hats. I mean it's a loose theory I have, just because I'm like, because I'm wondering how she escaped from this scenario here where Kainu came of all people. Because what happened was, I think Blackbeard was going to keep her as a bargaining chip, but Akainu was coming on. He was like on the. He was on. They saw a Navy ship coming toward them, and they saw it was Akainu was on there, and they just fled because they didn't want to deal with him right now. So this flashback, looks like Bonnie is at this point. So she must have ranted here to Kainu in the same way she does did the Vegapunk about like, you monsters turning my dad into a machine. And Akainu, we just see Akainu's comeback to this, whatever she said exactly. Like, you can get mad and rant and scream all you want, but his Kuma's mind is not coming back, and he volunteered for this. It's like, this is just like what Vegapunk said, and then Bonnie there is just as frustrated then as we saw her a little bit ago in the present, and she's screaming at him like calling Akainu a liar, and explaining like he would never do that because he wouldn't leave her behind. So now we go back to the present here after that little flashback, and the stupid celestial dragons start screaming at Akainu again, like what happened? Don't tell me that you let that Kuma gave you the slip. Are you sure you're the fleet admiral? Are you really, you call yourself the best of the Marines? And then Kainu just ignores that, and he's talking to himself about how Kuma, he's like saying to himself, you're just a puppet. You don't have anything left except to do what we're supposed to tell you. Your will and mind were taken away. So where are you heading off to? And it just shows him looking into the clouds toward the direction where Kuma fled to. So sorry. So now we switch away from that contemplation of that. Also, no, I should go over that a little more. What is Kuma doing here? He's up here in Marijois now, but he left Pangea Castle. He's heading in the opposite direction. I'm trying to think what's over that way. The way he headed toward looks like there was a forest that way. That looks like the angle. I'll have to check out. It looks like the angle he was heading toward was where there was only a forest and a path. Where back at Reverie, I think it was, we saw Shirahoshi and her family coming toward Pangea Castle from the direction where Kuma is heading back to now. The only thing I could think of is there's lots of slaves down below there. Maybe he's going to go over there and try and free some or have some go therein with that. Yeah, I just can't place my finger on what that would be. Because he made it up there, obviously. He had no problem getting up there. Pangea Castle is right there. I think that's where the throne is, right? That's where Im-sama would be. Unless he has got another place somewhere over there or something. I mean, only would Kuma know about that. Okay. So that's it for that part of the chapter. That scene. Now we cut to back to Egghead, and the fighting's still going on. We start with the fighting going on the shoreline, and we see that the pacifistas have pretty much finished off all the sea beasts. We see 3 or 4 of them all just sinking in the sea. So now hordes of the Marines start flooding into the main part of the island. And we see a voice of someone reporting their status to just maybe other vice admirals. Like, we arrived here, get out, everyone fan out and get ready to fully occupy the island. And then the voiceover continues saying, "Okay, Admiral Kizaru has broken through the clouds. So that's just a report of that part." So they're probably awaiting him, awaiting for him to destroy the defenses so they can help reinforce the upper area eventually. So I feel bad for the sea beasts. I want to comment on, because those things are probably still kind of animals, and I don't know if they've been utterly destroyed, or if they're going to just drown, so to speak, or just float, because they're just floating to the bottom of the sea there. So there's no way to rescue them right now, to do anything at all to help them, I guess. So now we finally get to the part we all wanted. We see Kizaru and Luffy. But Luffy is not in gear 5th right away like I thought he would. Like he did against Lucci. He jumped right into it against Lucci. Of course, he's fought Lucci before one-on-one for quite a while, and I think he knew he had to there, because he fully understood what Lucci's powers are like. But at this point, he's transformed instead into his Snake Man form, and is using his Python attacks. You can see all the ricochets and that going at Lucci, but it looks like the speed of those attacks are just not enough against Kizaru's attack. Defend his own speed, or now I don't know if that's just because he's light. Everyone keeps talking about, he can move at the speed of light. I'm not so sure about that. I think that's an exaggeration, just to say that, even though he is made of light or lasers. Because if he really was that fast and such, combined with his power and strength, I think he could. I have another thought. Someone like him would have taken, with this power, would have taken out Kaido and Big Mom a long time ago. He is formidable, yes, but I don't think he is capable of as much speed as people make him out to be, or perceive it, or think it should be. I would say. And so as the fight's going on here, and he's like blocking the attacks using like his he's kind of like his hands like this, and he's using his knees to block Luffy's punches. He's actually complimenting Luffy and saying, "Oh, you certainly seem like you. I can see how you defeated Kaido, and you've definitely grown." So So then he's like, "Well, what are you doing here, though? Why are you protecting Vegapunk? You're just a pirate." And Luffy just turns the question and says, like, I want to ask you, why are you trying to kill? Do you want to kill Vegapunk? What are you here for? What other reason could you have other than trying to kill him? And this scene, I don't know if they could say this upsets Kizaru. I'm thinking it does. He questions that, kill him. No, I don't want to kill him. I've known him for quite a long time. And at this point, Kizaru realizes he can't just, I guess, play around with Luffy anymore, and he jumps away in his light particles to like a mile away from the egghead. Like, they have a shot of the whole island there with him in the air, and he as he's doing it, that's where he makes that part of his speech where he's like, "I don't want to actually kill Vegapunk. I'm here to please don't get in my way and let me just finish what I have to do here." It's like, but like, no, obviously he's not going to, because he knows you're part of, if the government he's part of the government. So it's funny. Kizaru says, "No, I don't want to kill him," but like, Kizaru, you're working. You got Saturn down there. Aren't you considering that once you get Hashram, that you will be forced to kill him? I don't think Kizaru's thinking through very well what the potential, what might happen to Vegapunk when Kizaru succeeds, if he succeeded in this mission of getting out the Straw Hats and everyone out of the way and bringing and hauling Vegapunk into in front of like Saturn or the other Gorosei. Either way, what he does here is he like I said, he's up in the air now. He bounced away from Luffy and he went back outside the island. He's like almost a mile away, I would guess, distant. And he changes. It looks like at first he was charging an attack. He's kind of like preparing this attack. What he does is I think he turns into light. And the attack reads here. The translation is odd. It says acceleration is power, and I think that's supposed to be the name of attack. And he just put it. That'll probably be named better when the Viz version comes out. So what it looks like he does is the way he was doing it is like he charges at Luffy. That's what he does. So he charges at Luffy, and when he gets close, he turns into light from that distance, and he zooms back toward Luffy extremely fast. Of course, extremely fast. And he kicks Luffy away, and he does it he does it not so fast. The way he does it, he kicks Luffy right toward the Vega Force, and his body just plummets right through its torso, ripping it apart. And while that's happening, Kizaru's remembering this flashback where must have been when he talked with Vegapunk at some point more recently. And it's like, and Vegapunk's talking about humanity's dream of giant robots. So like, it must have been, I'm thinking he's thinking back to when Vegapunk first unveiled this completion of this robot. Because Vegapunk is always about that science stuff and making things that help the people. And so I'm thinking there that Kizaru's kind of thinking to himself, I'm sorry, Vegapunk, I had to destroy a robot, but you're on the other side of now. And you're in the way of my mission, and I can't feel that guilty. I can't let my feelings get in the way of my mission. It's kind of it looks like he's thinking there. So we see Luffy. We switch back and we see Luffy continue to plummet away after he smashed through the Vega Force, and I think he just hits the lava phase. And yeah, he's over there. I think the lasers coming and hitting him as he went outside that sphere. Is that how it is? It's a force field. I don't think it's an actual force field, right? It's just that lava phase looks like a dome, but I think that's just showing the area where if you pass through it, the lasers will hit you. One way or the other there, Luffy's like blown up there by, I think the lasers are shooting at him there. And because the Vega Force has gotten destroyed though now, the Sunny just falls down, and we see Frankie and Bonnie and the others flying over because the ship's like tipping sideways as it fell. Because like the Vega Force 1 actually, when it flipped, when Luffy destroyed it, the head is going upside down too, and so the ship tipped too with it because it was holding it in Lilith was controlling it, and she was holding it in her hand there, holding it, having the Vega Force hold the Sunny in its hand. Now that's flipped down to the side there. So they seem all right though, and instead they Lilith. So what happened? Apparently the Vega Force now looks like it's about to explode, and Lilith yells to the others to wait, who's there with him too? Is that Nami? Wait, who's that third person there? No, is that just Lilith? Yeah, I think Lilith just ejected herself, and then she tells yeah, Frankie and Bonnie to run, and then we see you get this like Hollywood style shot where it shows the three of them running away toward us in the panel, and a big explosion behind them. Um, it's actually kind of funny the way that Oda drew that. Uh, uh, now here, so now everyone's Lilith's first comment is like, "Oh, did is like shock and kind of like pain, like, oh, you've destroyed our robot. This is but Frankie's just focusing on the Sunny, which is his. Actually, she calls it our dream, the Vega Force. So what does that mean? Is that the name? Our dream, the Vega Force, has been destroyed. Vega Force One. But Frankie here is focusing on with the Sunny, and then Bonnie comments that I think that Straw Hat just got blown away. But now then they're confronted by Kizaru here, and and Kizaru here tries to like kind of reason with Bonnie, and he first says, "Oh, you've grown so much, Bonnie. Damn, kids keep getting grown up fast these days." And he asks, "Oh, you have a grudge against Vegapunk, right? I'll take. I've been ordered to assassinate him, so don't worry about it." I guess he's saying there. Wait, so I think this is. I was a little confused with the dialogue here, but I think what Bonnie here is essentially yelling at him, saying, "No, I'm not mad at him any. I'm not mad at him anymore." And she takes a Bonnie actually swipes at Kizaru with some kind of cable. That's a weird attack she did. She just swings at him with this cable out of nowhere. Um, but Kizaru is just way too fast for her, and he just phases to his right as she lunged at his torso, using his light. And Kizaru's just like, look, I have these targets I have to go after. The Vegapunks. Don't make me have to hurt you too. I don't. We known each other a long time too. So he just like Sentomaru, he doesn't want to hurt her because so he must have known her as a kid when he maybe she must have been like I'm guessing with Kuma was coming here with her as a kid. Kizaru was there too. This is probably when must have been like a period too there where uh, Vegapunk was still uh, trying to learn the secrets of Kizaru's light power so he could um, replicate it as he succeeded now with the pacifistas. So Kizaru here knows Bonnie, and he just like Sentomaru, he's upset that they're on the other side of the fight now. Um, so Kizaru, after he's phased past her, he does a back kick to her in the head and sends her flying. And Frankie's like, "Oh no!" And she gets like sent to the other against the Labo phase defenses too. And we just see an explosion there. And Frankie gets ready to fight back. He's like, "No, Bonnie, are you okay? Damn you, Kizaru!" And he prepares his radical beam, but apparently Kizaru doesn't even see him or Lilith as a threat because he just leaves after that. And Frankie's like, "Oh crap, he's gonna go after Stella." I'm surprised he didn't try and kill Lilith right there, though. It looks like he wants to make sure he gets to the Vegapunk first, the Stella first. So Frankie quickly warns them through a Denden Mushi, and he starts contacting him. And so we switch there to the lab, and the others are actually the first we see Usopp, who's paying attention, still monitoring the battle still out there, and he's like, Frankie, are you guys all right? We heard explosions out there. What's happening? But while that's happening, we did get a bit of quite a bit of good news in this bit here, as Vegapunk says, announces that they've cracked York's code that was preventing them from bringing down the Lambeau phase defenses. So he's Vegapunk's there smiling away and celebrating. We see wait, which one is that? Edison. Edison's just like, oh, thank God, we finally got this. It took all three of us to beat the code of one, but we did it. And Atlas turned around and she's like raising her, like, ha, take that, York. We beat your damn code. And the look on York's face, like, oh, fuck. And she like, calls them, you damn geniuses, which is funny because she's one of them. But she's like, was really hoping for that to not be cracked because she was waiting for Kizaru to come there and rescue her. So now Vegapunk is like, oh, quickly, Usopp brings out Denden Mushi for Vegapunk to use, and he starts talking to Franky. I think this is what Franky's communication didn't get in yet, but about the Kizaru, because Vegapunk just hasn't heard it. He's just like, he tells Franky about the barrier being disabled. So continue the plan. And then he said, continue the plan now. You guys at your location that we at the location at the back of the island. But now this is where Kizaru comes in, and he's like, yeah, about that. I'm here now. Yeah, Vega Force is destroyed. You're not gonna get away. You're not getting away, Vegapunk. So Kizaru, I want to stop here, really is exuding a lot of confidence in this thing. I just really feel like Kizaru really hasn't been ever properly challenged by anyone ever in his since he's had his light powers, because he just kicked away Luffy. What was I gonna say? He kicked away Luffy, and he's made it in here without anyone else stopping him. He really I'm just confused by Kizaru, as I've elaborated before, how he serves the government this way, and he's just not. He's like an emotionalist sort of guy who just like, I do my duty and that's that. Like, it's like Akainu also wants to serve the Marines and crush pirates, but he's very hot-headed about it, obviously, and he wants to. I think the difference over here between these two is I think Akainu is becoming fully fed up with working for the Celestial Dragons, and I wouldn't be surprised if he quits someday. And if he did, I think Kizaru would be the guy that they would force. Well, they probably wouldn't give him a choice, and yeah, force him to be the fleet admiral. And given how calm and cold he basically is, I think this is the kind of fleet admiral they would actually want, that just listens to orders and does this stuff. So, anyways, the Kizaru just pops up here in front of, in the middle of everyone, and you got Usopp and Vegapunk and Edison all like, oh shit, he's here. It's over, guys. What do we do? And then we got Brook there, Nami, and Atlas. Atlas looks like she's raised her hands, I think, like, hey, all right, I give up. So Kizaru's like, listen, guys, please don't fight me now. I don't, this is bad enough for me. And then he's like, I don't want to drag this too long. Vegapunk, we've known each other a long time. Can you just give up? But this is the final part of the chapter now, I must point out. And where do I start with this? We get this double spread page, and Luffy just pops up on top of the lab from behind Kizaru in Gear 5, and he's a giant, and he takes his left hand and grabs Kizaru in the hand, and he's like, wait, who's saying this? And Luffy's like, I can't wait to see this animated, because when Luffy here, I think, is laughing. He just got this smile. He looks like he's got this look like, I got you now. But he also reads the text box. He says, that hurt what you, that kick hurt, Kizaru. Then he's laughing it off. And Who's saying it's hot? And um, shit. The panel here is so funny. I'm sorry, there's a lot to take in this panel because we see just like when Luffy had just like when his head had gotten smashed in the dome of Onigashima, uh, the other people here, their eyes all pop out. There's Vegapunk, Nami, Usopp, and even Atlas. You can see in the back left, their eyes are all like, "What the frick is going on?" And even Kizaru has us look at like kind of panicking, like, "Oh, this is not what I was expecting. This is that form everyone's talking about." I first see when he grabs him in the main shot, I thought he was like, "Oh, like a minor inconvenience." But when you get this next little panel, he has a little sweat coming down his face, and it's like, yeah, Luffy, and also Luffy's hand doesn't show it, but he must be using hockey because I don't think Kizaru looks like, oh crap, he's got me, yeah, because he usually can just phase away from things, but I think he must be holding him with the advanced hockey or such. And yeah, this is just cool to see Luffy using that giant form again. And so then we get a panel out there where Luffy's, yeah, he's sitting on top of the dome, and he and then he kind of says to Kizaru, you sent me flying all the way down. You sent me flying all the way down. I crossed that barrier 2 times. I actually thought I was gonna die. So he must have been blown out of the barrier. He went so fast, got kicked so hard, and that must have been when he turned into Gear Fifth. I'm thinking because I mean, he can fly in his other form, his regular in Bounce Man. He can zoom around, but I'm thinking he probably turned in this form because he could use his toon powers to probably somehow uh, uh, get past the barriers without taking as much damage. Although it looks like he must have actually. Now I look at him again, he looks all dirty now. Or maybe that's like supposed to be kind of like soot from the lasers. So, anyways, this is the bit I was hoping we'd get earlier, but now we get to the final shots of the chapter, and we switch back to that knight robot that has been sitting there, and that Vegapunk is trying to had used to make the Vega Force, and we see its eyes wake up. There's two glowing dots in the visor. It's got like a visor, and it's wearing like a Viking helmet looking thing, that the traditional style with the horns, and its eyes will pop in the visor, and we get the chapter end there. The way the spoilers, and this is funny. I'm trying to figure out why this would wake up, and then I read the spoilers this morning. A spoiler footnotes, like notes, and someone the notes are speculating that the Luffy's drums of liberation thing are what's waking this up. Like his presence, I guess I should say, is what's waking this thing awake now, which is odd because as I saw too, I was looking at some chats, I was watching people a discussion. So I'm also speculating that how, like, if that's so, what caused this thing to wake up? Because this thing, as told us by Vegapunk, woke up 200 years ago, rampaged up in Marijwa, I think, and then just shut down, and no one knows why. And he was supposed to destroy it, but he brought it here instead. Maybe they couldn't. Maybe they tried to destroy it afterward. I think the way Vegapunk was explaining it, I guess they couldn't dispose of it. It's been sitting around somewhere. And Vegapunk, when he started working for the government, was tasked with trying to destroy it if he could, but he didn't even try to. And instead, he's been reverse engineering it, trying to understand it and he built Vega Force One from it. Quite a bit different look, by the way, he from it though, but because this thing looks like again like a knight's armor, kind of almost. Well, no, the breastplate thing looks weird, but then Vega Force One looks more like a modern robot, the way we think of it with the metal surface and stuff. But anyways, yeah, I'm trying to think of what is this connection here with Luffy using Gear Fifth, and now it's waking up, because that's also funny because he just used Gear Fifth against Lucci. Not in the timeline here, it was the day before, he was fighting Lucci in Gear Fifth, and this didn't show happen. But now like he's transformed the second time the next morning, the next day, and now it's done that. So I'm a little speculative if that's not thinking that may not be the full reason it's waking up. But now, fortunately, I don't think we have a break next week, so we won't have to wait too long to find out. Now we're really also going to get to see what can Luffy do against Kizaru. We gotta wait one more week, unfortunately. And it's funny again that Luffy tried Snake Man first. Maybe he just wanted to get a taste of what he could do against Kizaru. And as I saw those even point out, like he doesn't probably want to use Gear 5 all the time if you don't have to. Like it's maybe he even knows that. I think sometimes Luffy even knows that if he uses that form, he's not really himself. He's in this when he. So Oda wanted to draw Luffy to be a silly character, and he likes to draw the wacky powers. And where did I read that? Where like it seems the reason he made Gear 5th this way is because after Gear 4, Luffy was always so serious and out to want to finish the fight quickly. But so I'm thinking this is what's kind of going on with Luffy as a character. Is Luffy is a happy-go-lucky guy, but in a scenario like this siege, he wants to make sure his friends are safe, and he's got to protect Vegapunk now. So I think when he was fighting Kizaru, he's like, I gotta be serious now. I can't use Gear 5th yet because I kind of lose myself. So that's what I think why he transformed into use that instead, because he's more conscious of what he's doing. I think he's still a little worried about how silly he gets in a way. It's just my conjecture. That'll be interesting to see this more down the line if Oda elaborates on that. I know too this is like very hard transformation for him to use too. This is becoming like the equivalent of Super Saiyan 3 for Goku to use, or Gotenks. For any Saiyan who was able to use that, we only get to see those two, I think, as canonical transformations. It takes a lot of stamina out to use Super Saiyan 3 because it's like it's like this maximum power form. And I think Luffy is having the same thing now with what we know he is, because after he fought Lucci, and even during Kaido, the transformation just turned off on him in Kaido's fight, and he had to force himself back into it. And I think he switched into this really easy against here in this point, but when he turned it off after finishing off Lucci, and they were evacuating up to the lava phase, he just turned he looked like this old man. I think it was like an exaggeration of sorts to like show how fatigued he was still using that for a short time. So he really has to I think Luffy's gonna need a bit of a training phase to get used to this, because so maybe his body can get used to it. I don't know any other way to say it. Anyways, this was a great chapter. God damn, a lot happened. Actually, my favorite part is really seeing that the Vegapunks finally broke that code, because York has been not bragging. What's the word I'm looking for? Like very what was the word? Like you'll never get through my thing. I'm a genius too. You can't break through it. You guys should just give up now and let me, because Kizaru's on his way. Lucci's right there. You can't escape. You can't win, I should say. And seeing her get the code destroyed, broken, really. There's nothing quite like that satisfaction of seeing someone who brags, I guess, like how they're gonna win for sure. You have no chance, and then seeing that the curtains fall, I guess, so the other shoe drop or whatever. I hope Bonnie's okay too, because now we don't see what happened to Bonnie, but she got kicked away. And yeah, with this mystery about Kuma, now that he's not there going to Pangea Castle, it's like why even come up there then? I'm gonna be looking around at any other footage now of where else is up there in on Reijwa to try and see if I can speculate anything else about that. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm going to cut this video short now here. Not short. Kind of stop it here and yeah, thanks for watching.